This Monday morning, April
Monday.
22nd. My favorite day of the week. I think
this is my favorite day of the week because I love our guests this morning.
But hey,
these guys are like my favorite. Like they make me laugh harder than any of the sports humor folks. They're the best. They're hilariously funny.
Here's the key. They're what late night TV used to be with Johnny Carson and David Letterman when it was funny. And these guys are brilliant. And we got lucky to make the connection with MJ. One of my great friends was down at a bankers conference in, I guess it was Point Clear, about 5-6 weeks ago when he met these guys. They were the speakers there. Everybody loved them. So look, we've got the SEC Shorts guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, Franz Beard, GatorbaitMedia.com. Billy Roberts checks in from Brookhaven, not Atlanta. Right after that, we are SEC Sidelines Sports Network and SECU. And check out that new podcast we dropped Friday.
Yeah.
I love it, Brendan, on Texas. What you know, what you don't know. By the way, and we're going to get into this with the SEC Shorts guys. Texas, they do have a high self-esteem. So, hey, we'll be right back. Get pen and paper handy. Smash the subscribe button, bottom right-hand corner. Allow notifications on your Android or your iPhone. We love having you on here. We'll be right back.
Let's go.
Sidelines with Rob Brown. Talk sporty to me.
All right, football never goes out of season, and we know living in the South, of course, in the interest of full disclosure, if you can't tell, I'm an Auburn grad, but I have remarried to a Vol for life, picked up an oldest daughter on waivers, Mallory, Alabama fan, Alabama graduate, still a good person. But I'm going to tell you something, man. You got to laugh. What did Jim Valvano say? Every day you need to laugh, you need to think, you need to cry. Y'all bring people to the point of laughing and thinking about crying. I love what you do. I mean, if we can't make fun of ourselves, hey, I'm Scotch-Irish. What the hell are we going to do? So, Brendan Martin and everybody watching, I'll let y'all take over. Josh Sneed and Robert Clay, SEC Shorts. You've seen them. And if you haven't seen them, if you don't watch these guys, you need help. Yeah. So I'll let y'all take over. But what's the latest? I know y'all work year round on this, but I just love the fact that you don't hold anything back. You're truth brokers. I love it.
Yeah, I think that's what we try to do. It's one big family in the SEC, and there's a lot of dysfunction sometimes. So we just try to slide in there and poke the bear a little bit, depending on what's going on. Which it's a lot easier to do with some teams than others, but that's the goal each week. But you always want to make sure everybody can laugh at it, and you keep it where they'll still share it. If you make fun of their team, you're still going to laugh. So that's the goal.
Yeah, and we all know, and I don't know. Y'all both live in Birmingham, correct?
That's right.
Yeah, and I've been as a guest at the Monday Morning Birmingham Quarterback a few times. I got a lot of friends on both sides of the aisle there. What the city of Birmingham, and I live in Memphis, I got to say, there is not another city in America that has two anchors like Auburn and Alabama that compete for so many things, but what they really do, fundraising. I think $1.6 million went out to charities this past year. Y'all, Birmingham is kind of the lightning rod for college football. How did y'all come up with the idea to start this?
So actually, starting it off, Robert and I worked together we just had a normal office job.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of boring. So we're always looking for ways to, express some sort of creativity. And Robert came up with the idea to do a video, it was college football themed. And I was like, okay, I guess whatever, and people responded to it. And, eventually we started doing it for Feinbaum on his show when the SEC network started. And then that kind of just kicked it all off and haven't stopped doing it since then. That was 10 years ago. So
10 years.
Paul
10 years. Well, I
Feinbaum.
didn't know it was going on for 10 years. Wow.
A decade of excellence.
Yeah, neither
is
did
what we're calling it.
See, Rob, I told you it takes time. It takes time.
Yeah,
Rob and I
it
just
does.
started the show a couple of months ago. He's like, why are we not like at 500,000 views yet? I'm like, brother,
Yeah.
it takes time.
Well, and my other life, I'm a financial advisor for 33 years with wealth management and estate planning. Yeah, it did not happen the first year or 2 years. So, anything worth having is worth fighting for. When you look around the SEC, and I was joking with Ken Capps, we're going to have SEC Media Days in Dallas this year at the Omni. And I don't know if y'all remember that episode of the Beverly Hillbillies when Uncle Jed ran for mayor of Beverly Hills and Jethro Bodine had a sign being flown around town. And it's in big caps, it said, Jethro Bodine says, and in the bottom right-hand corner, vote for Jed Clampett. Is it true there's going to be a big billboard on I-20 when you come in orange and white that says, Texas welcomes the SEC? That's going to be fun, isn't it?
When they announced Dallas, I was like, okay, we're going hardcore
Yeah.
into the Longhorn thing. So
Yeah.
I know the hotel in Hoover that usually gets it is probably just like, well, I don't know about that, but yeah, I mean, who knows? Welcome them on in, have media days there. Let's just see what happens. They're an addition that's going to be a very colorful one for sure.
Yeah,
It
a
is.
lot of content for you guys there, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, especially Texas. I mean, I grew up in Colorado, and I've seen the Longhorns played a lot of times. But I love when we first started. Rob and I, we had a gentleman on from Texas A&M, a reporter, and I started making fun of all the fish calls and the yells and all that
cheers,
stuff. And he got real upset about it.
Oh no, they take it. They take it.
Yeah,
very
real.
seriously.
He went off the set from us. We haven't
Yeah,
spoken to him
he's
since.
like, how am I going to take this shit?
Yeah, it was like just having some fun.
They take it really seriously, and their rivalry with Texas is also very interesting because to Texas A&M fans, it's a big deal, and to Texas fans, they don't really even think about it. So it's maybe it'll get it rekindle the flames when the starts, but.
Yeah.
I think Texas thinks about it for sure. I think they act like they don't think about it. I think that's sort of what I've noticed about Texas is it's kind of like you get the version they want you to see, and then inside they're on the phone with their therapist right afterwards, kind of being like, "Oh, do you think they saw through me? I don't know." Like,
they got more money. They got more oil money. I don't even know how this works.
Name of the game right there, the M word. You said it. Just whatever it takes.
Well, and what's crazy is the state of Texas gives 2/3 of the oil and gas money by decree of the legislature to Austin, 1/3 to College Station. And, $85 a barrel, $90 a barrel oil is like $14 a bushel rice in Arkansas. And now, y'all have got to be having some fun with Jerry Jones getting involved. I'm going to pay any Kentucky commitment twice. TWICET twice as much as Kentucky if they'll come to Arkansas because I own the Dallas Cowboys. How much fun is that going to be?
Oh, it's that NIL stuff. I mean, anybody who's getting in there, it's just like, it's the wild, wild west right now. I mean, it's zero regulation.
Yeah.
And if you could just say, you can get a recruit in here and, I feel like it used to be when they first started it, like, okay, you can come here, we can pay you, but you got to be in 10 local car commercials. That part has dropped beyond the wayside now. Now it's just like, here's the money, please score touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
Josh,
Well, sorry, but one of my favorite episodes that you all did, and I know it's still up there. I was looking at it last night, but when you took each team and you sat down with, I think it was you made up a representative, I think, from the NCAA, and you awarded everyone their money. They said, "Oh, okay, guys, you did," and you reviewed how they did for the year, right?" Oh. And my favorite part of that is when the Vanderbilt person sat down. And you're like, just take your money. Just take it. It's just, we're done. Like, you guys suck. Like, just
the Auburn fan. I was born into it, and the Jabba, the Auburn fan. Well, would you see that recruiting class? I mean, why can't people have fun anymore? I mean, I do. We don't hold back. The First Amendment's alive and well. I wish you all had a show. I know you're probably busy. I don't know if you're married and have kids. You look like you're very young compared to me, but I mean, I think it'd be awesome. We need to laugh more. People walk around on eggshells. And then what were the two guys, the big guy and the tall guy in Smokey and the Bandit? You know, that's going to be Texas. Think about that. I say, foghorn leghorn. I say, son. I say, back off. You're bothering me. It's going to be crazy having the material.
I'm a little rusty on my Smokey and the Bandit references, but yeah.
That's our Rob, man. We gotta love it. Rob goes deep, man. He goes deep.
But I just think about how much fun it's going to be. So let me ask y'all, what kind of feedback do you get from coaches, athletes now, and all? Because I remember the days, and his dad is a legendary sports writer, Buddy Martin, former sports editor of the New York Daily News, the Denver Post, St. Pete Times. When Buddy comes on our show, he's like the coach in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you know, that had the gray sweatshirt and the whistle. All right, everybody get in here. Yeah. And what kind of feedback do you get when you meet these guys? They've got to be having fun with y'all too, aren't they?
Yeah, you know, the team's not so, I mean, we're pretty tame. Like, we don't really go after anybody, but the teams don't like there to be any sort of negative stuff out there. So, you know, sometimes they get a little upset with us, but I think for the most part, you know, all the fans of the teams that we make fun of, they don't really take it too harsh. So, you know, we don't really hear much from coaches or teams or whatever, but, you know, as long as the fans are happy, then that's okay.
Now, I wanted to ask you: are you all like comedians? Are you you know, is comedy in your background? Robert, you first, and then Josh.
According to my mom, no, but no. My background is more like filmmaking, so I went to film school, learned to film and edit. And I was just, you know, incredibly hilarious along the way of doing that. And so I wouldn't say it was like comedy, but once we, you know, doing this for so long, you know, if you go back and watch our season 1 stuff, I feel like you can see sort of the evolution of just where it's faster paced. We try to dial in the jokes a little bit better. So you learn a lot just by doing it a lot. So I think we've both probably gotten a little bit better, but I would say Josh was probably a little bit just of a funnier dude in general. I take that back. He's not. What am I talking about?
Yeah. No, I'm way too scared to like get on stage and be like a stand-up. We do a live show now though, where there's like stand-up is part of it, and we do, you know, the sketches, audience games, all that stuff.
Oh,
and
wow.
So we've been able to do that, and that's been a lot of fun. But I'd say before we got started, you know, I'd done some theater growing up and stuff, but never anything like official. So it was just two guys who worked together at an office who were equally passionate about something stupid, and we just ran with it.
Don't forget depressed. We were super depressed at that time.
Also depressed. We're eating a lot of dairy.
Now, did something like COVID expand that, or like where you have more people at home? Did you see a jump in that, or not really?
By that time, we had already been doing it for a while, so I wouldn't say the needle really moved for us too much.
The COVID season was just weird in general because everybody was going. It felt like we were a little bit more united that season because you're all going through just the absolute weirdness of that season.
Oh, that was great too because they only played SEC games.
Yes. So some of our like videos that we like the most were during that season because it just added that development where we thought it was going to be canceled. Then when it comes back, everyone's worried it's going to be canceled, and everyone's going through the same thing. So I think for that one season, the conference was more united than it looks like it is now.
Yeah, I think the virus season pulled everybody together, and I've said this. I mean, I was in school when Coach Bryant retired and he died. He always said, "I don't know if I'm ever going to retire. I'll probably croak in 30 days." And he was dead within 30 days. And I was on the phone last night with one of my good friends who they were very close to him, very close to Coach Bryant, and he was quite a character. And Coach Saban, you know, won a lot of games, but, you know, he went to the Joe Stalin School of Charm and Personality. I mean, it's like going, how'd the team look at Nit? It's very tough to get him to open up. Who are the best coaches in terms of, I don't know, is it Eli Drinkowitz? Who are the best ones that in terms of material?
Lane Kiffin for
Lane
us.
Kiffin, yeah, no doubt. It's Lane.
Not only is he also has a good sense of humor. So if you make fun of him a little bit, he sees it for what it is. It's just, people messing around. So I think.
How do we get you guys into the press conferences? Because that's what I want to see. Can you just
this was forever ago, but we were making a documentary where Nick Saban's Coke bottle was talking. Like, we would do a voice for him about how hard it is to be Nick Saban's Coke bottle. That thing you guys are the podium. So I went to a Nick Saban press conference, and while he's talking, we're like in front of this podium, like filming the Coke bottle. It was the weirdest experience. So I was like, we probably should lay low at press conferences for a while.
You guys just went for the jugular on that one. Go to a Saban press conference. I mean, that's getting it.
They just let you in. They don't really you don't have to have a badge or I don't encourage anybody to show up, but like they just walked in like, hey guys, come on in. Who wants the question?
God. So, and you think about and you look at the views and the way it gets out there. I think the SEC, I will say this, with Texas and Texas A&M coming in, Texas A&M had an advantage to tell recruits, hey, come on, we're in the SEC. Now Texas is in there. Then I watched the South Carolina, How to Raise a Young Gamecock. I watched that one of the best you ever did. I mean, that one's phenomenal. But what I think is fun is there's no real drama with Auburn and Alabama fans. They just take everything in stride, as you know. I'm being silly, but Aiden Holloway, he's now committed to Alabama, and someone sent out a meme of all these people, looked like they were typing in a click factory maybe, and it was all the people removing their negative tweets about Holloway when he played for Auburn. Now that he's great. That part of it has got to be like taking a drink of water from a fire hydrant, though. Where do you start? How do y'all start with an idea? Because there's so much potential content.
Yeah, like what's your process? Like, you have a meeting, I mean, I've made films forever, and Robert, I'm a lot like you. So before I came to this part of it, but what's your process?
Yeah, I think we like to watch the games and you try to identify the big storylines. So most of the time we try to focus in on either one team or one storyline so we can devote an entire episode to it. And so we really are just trying to figure out what are people going to be talking about on Monday? What's going to be the storyline and how can we kind of slide our video into that? So I think that's where it kind of starts for us. And then, with Josh, we'll start trying to make it funny at that point.
Yeah. We meet early on Sunday, pick an idea, and then we split up and go for it. So, Robert is like furiously writing and cricketing things and just doesn't stop moving. And, I'll, get the gear ready, find the play location and all that. So we find an idea, split up, and then work as fast as we can. And then Robert's up late editing at night.
Yeah, we have what we call the bat signal where we need 4 people in this video and we throw the bat signal up. It's like, all right, who's available? We need you in the next hour to show up. So we have a lot of people on call.
What the lady that's in there, she's hilarious. They did the report cards on the SEC. I mean, she goes, well, she had Florida come in. Let's go after Florida. He's down in Ocala. Look at the background there. But that one was classic. And then but the Alabama, you leave the hat. You forgot your hat. Hey, you forgot. Who came up? That's brilliant. It was respectful as hell, but it was like you think about a kid just running off and forgetting to sign his report card, which I was very good at.
Yeah, that one was a tricky one because you want to find some way to sort of honor the legacy. He's probably one of the last old school SEC coaches there. So we wanted it to be subtle, and so I think we just we had the hat that we had been using for basically the hat kind of represented our time with Saban. We bought it at a store pretty much 2 or 3 years into doing these videos, and so it was sort of like hanging that prop up in a lot of ways too, where it was like it's the end of an era. So I think the big criticism where a lot of people were like, he's not dead. Like he's going on game day. He's going on this stuff. So, but we try to kind of thread the needle between being a little too sappy and then not acknowledging it all.
Yeah.
So what's what's on deck for you guys this season? I mean, obviously Oklahoma, Texas expansion, NIL, transfer portal, players showing up in sports cars, dogs, Dover, German shepherds, eating your camera gear. I mean, what is next for SEC Shorts?
Coda's always trying to steal the thunder here.
We're dog friendly here, man. It's okay. My little
not when he plays with his 50-pound bone and drops it on the ground, and it sounds like he's going to break the floor.
Or your foot,
Yeah, Josh, what do we got on deck? I think we've been working on some stuff.
Yeah, so we've in the off season we'll do some we do corporate stuff. We're getting ready for a couple live shows we want to do in the fall. That we're going to announce, pretty soon. And then we've got a couple off-season videos, like you said. Texas and Oklahoma are joining, so we want to do something on that. And playoff expansion, there's a pretty big one planned for that I hope we execute.
Let's commit to it now, Josh. We're going to put it on the public. We're doing a musical with Anna singing.
Show.
Yeah,
that's right. We're doing a musical number, so now we have to write it. We can't back off of it.
Yeah.
Well, you think about Oklahoma, and I can't help but think about John Steinbeck, the grapes of wrath. Things were bad in the 30s. Things were rough in the Big 12. That conference, you had Oklahoma, dominating, and Texas, and they headed west. Now they're heading east. It's great parallel, a dichotomy. How much fun when you think? Are y'all going to get out? Have y'all been to Norman yet or Austin, where the bumper stickers say "Keep it weird"?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been to Austin.
Yeah, I've been to Austin, not Norman.
Yeah. And we had a guy on here, Tyler McComas from KREF Radio. He said the Chamber of Commerce, when it was announced that Oklahoma was coming into the league, they went to Fayetteville, Lexington, and Tuscaloosa to see what's the economic impact on a typical weekend. They said Big 12 fans bring about 11 million into Norman for a conference game. Tuscaloosa, Lexington, Fayetteville, the average was 33 million and change. And so it's just a ginormous, as my kids say, ginormous. That's a word, isn't it? Yeah. But
how much is it a handout to players in the walk-up line? You're just like passing them hundreds, like, please don't leave, please don't leave.
Yeah, and I mean,
like tipping the valet.
Yeah, like the NIL thing. You're right. It was supposed to have been based on what you accomplished. Like a sophomore in college that's in pre-med can't say, well, I'm going to start practicing heart surgery on the Haley Center Concourse tomorrow at 2. Y'all come by. I mean, they can't do it, but it's here and nothing we can do about it. Who is the most difficult coach to crack or to try to find any humor in who's just a complete zero? God, that's a terrible question to ask, but
zero. Who's unique?
Besides Chip Kelly, I'm serious. No, but
yeah, that's a tough question. I think they all have their own like ways you can kind of come at them. I think one of the interesting ones is Mark Stoops at Kentucky. He wins, but he doesn't win like enough to vault him into like I guess winning that as much as he has at Kentucky is impressive. But personality wise and stuff like that, we've never really been able to kind of dial that in with him as a individual. He seems like he's a good neutral ball. And like the fact with like the whole Texas A&M rumors was probably the most interesting thing that's been a story about him since he's been a coach. There just hasn't been a lot.
Yeah. Well, the one thing,
Josh, you have a favorite?
Josh, I want to hear what you're.
No, I think that's a good point. Stoops is a good one. I guess Drinkwitz for me because I don't know a lot about Missouri to begin with, so I'm not really. I don't know. They're also another one where they're kind of in the middle a lot. We tend to focus on the teams that aren't doing really well or doing just gangbusters. So they usually kind of fall in the middle as well. So it's
not last year. Woo, baby.
Yeah, I know not last year.
I don't want to talk about last year.
But yeah. So yeah.
Nothing worse than being a Gator last year. Losing that game.
It's a great time to be for us for Florida there.
I bet you got. If you need any more ideas for Florida, I've got a whole bunch for you. So
it's not looking great next year either. I would say
the schedule's like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Man.
You know what
the
I mean?
Florida schedule is.
Holy God!
Oh, so you know that you referenced the report card video. We wanted to have the Grim Reaper bring in the schedule for to Florida as they were getting their report card, but I forgot the
Josh's one job is to get the costumes, and he forgets the costumes. Did you bring the Saban hat? At least tell me that.
Well, I got an idea on Kentucky. For passion for the fans, have the player running out with the American flag, have a guy running out wearing a coal miner's hat with a light on for a night game, representing that blue collar mentality of the state, something like that, the coal miners team. But as far another one like Missouri, living in Memphis, they don't know whether they're in the Midwest. The people in the boot heel are in the Mississippi Delta. They're definitely Southern. There's no question. But I worked for a company, A.G. Edwards in St. Louis for about 8.5 years. That city, they don't know. I mean, it's great baseball. It's a great sport. It's a pro state. They got Kansas City and St. Louis. So how do you crack that nut? And you don't want to ignore them. I mean, they've got some good fans, but who are the craziest fans y'all have ever heard from in the SEC? That's probably a long list.
It's I will say this: as for the majority of the time we have been making these videos, so the last 10 years, Tennessee fans have been remarkably enthusiastic and supportive of jokes at their expense, way more than any other team. They've had a tough stretch with some moments of just amazingness in that stretch, but for the majority of it, they were a little bit on the down and outs there, and they just always responded super well, and were just so excited to laugh at themselves, and I think that's a rare quality in a fan base in general, and I always appreciated that about them.
I do too. It's funny you say that. I feel the same way. They have the best attitude. Regardless of the fact that they're naked under those overalls, that's some chafage. You know what I mean?
Oh man,
that's going to put me in a really bad place. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They come into Florida and they're in the swamp. I'm like, bro, you got some swamp ass right now. I got to tell you, that's a rough outfit. And let me tell you, it doesn't look real manly. I just want to say it looks a little rough. Hey, we're gonna bring in this guy, Franz Beard. He's an incredible writer and knows everything. He's a fan of your guys. If you don't mind, for the last couple of minutes here.
Sure.
Really appreciate y'all, by the way, being on here. Thank you so much, both of y'all, Josh and Robert. We really appreciate it.
Franz, how are you, sir? Good morning.
I'm doing well, and big fan of SEC shorts. It's how you guys keep coming up with so much creative content, I will never know. I mean, that's some of this stuff is just borderline genius, if not real genius. It's right there, and believe me, everybody in the SEC, whether you're poking fun of them or not, looks forward to whenever you guys post something. It really and truly. I've been around the SEC. I started writing my first SEC game in, I guess it was 1967. So I've been around the SEC a long time. And I got to tell you, you guys nail it every single week. But I got to tell you, you got to take on the Aggies more often. I mean, they're just out there. It's like they have this gigantic target that says, you can hit anywhere and it's a bullseye. It doesn't matter if it's just winging me. It's still a bullseye. They're just waiting. They're just waiting to be hit.
So we actually last season we did a live show in College Station, and where we made fun of them for an hour and a half, and they ate it up. They loved it. They were good sports. We had a good time. Robert dressed up like a yell leader. It was.
Wow.
I mean, you got to admit, everybody in the SEC has these little pixies in short skirts, and then you get guys with bulging muscles to come lift him up by the butt and hold him up like this.
It's crazy.
I mean, yeah, I hate to say it, but you got to question some of these guys why they do. Well, you know why they do it.
Well, being a yell leader is a big deal. I gotta throw a question for y'all before you go. And I don't want him to, but Paul Feinbaum went to my high school, to Christian Brothers High School, and he switched over to White Station High School in Memphis, graduated. And he's going to be up here. By the way, a little shameless plug for the Memphis Touchdown Club. A week from tonight at 5:30 p.m. social hour at the Touchdown Club of Memphis. Paul Feinbaum will be the speaker April 22nd. Go to the website, memphistouchdownclub.com. We'll tell you more about it this week. I don't want this to happen, but I kind of do. I wish we could put Paul Feinbaum on at 10:30 in that spot where Letterman was and have y'all be his writers, but also bring back Brother Theodore. I mean, you got to go check this guy out. Brother Theodore was an astrophysicist who was batshit crazy. He was on the show all the time. And also Larry Bud Melman, Biff, the producer. That's what I grew up with. Y'all are I'm just telling you this. I'm not BSing you. Y'all are the only guys I've seen that have that kind of talent. You're that funny. You're brilliant. But I know one of y'all went to Auburn. One of these went to Auburn. I don't know which one. But
the one wearing a polo shirt and is not in a torture dungeon for his background.
What's your safe word? What's your safe word?
Josh, are you okay? Blink if you need help.
Josh,
War Eagle. You know the thing I would really like to see you guys do is I'd like to see you spoof FSU, which is just absolutely on its knees, begging you, please take us. We know we turned you down 3 times before when you asked.
Trashy.
But now we're asking you. This is just target rich. It really is. And Clemson too. And you got to remember there is a P in Clemson. There is no such thing as Clemson. It's Clemson.
Yeah. Have y'all thought about it? I mean, because both fan bases love boiled peanuts. Now, if you love boiled peanuts, you're definitely from the South. Is that true? I mean,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Peanut was invented in the South. Don't we all know that?
Yeah. Well, what do you think, Josh and Robert? Would y'all take on Florida State just because they are flirting, as is Clemson, Auburn with a lake?
Yeah, we did a Florida State video when I think we kind of met together and we both kind of thought they got hosed at the playoff selection.
Yeah.
And I remember I showed up with the script and Josh is like, why are we doing this? No one cares about Florida State. And so we ended up making it. And it did pretty well in that moment. And then you see Florida State just get completely railroaded by Georgia in the bowl game. So, we try to bring in the other camp. We used to make fun of Clemson all the time. And then they started winning national championships. And so we were kind of like backed off a little bit. They were always kind of the goofy team, and then I think we're able to slide back in there and start making fun of them again, though. I think they may be on the downward trend of their roller coaster ride.
Well, they want to do a tractorcade to Birmingham to see if they can convince the SEC to take them. Get everybody.
Well, you know what?
They're going to. They got a problem though because Sears is shut down now. They don't know where to go get overalls.
Well, the funny thing, Franz, I'm going to tell you the funniest. It wasn't funny, but there was a bad problem in the '80s. They had a bunch of players arrested for snatching, grab, shoplifting, robbing convenience stores or whatever. And the old joke was when they call the police, they go, "This is police department. Go ahead." The suspects, they would just say, did you get a jersey number? It was bad. It was really
jersey
bad.
number.
It was bad. Well, I mean, Florida State, folks. I mean, Bobby Bowden got Julian Pittman out on work release so he could play football in 1995. I mean 1993. I mean, come on now. Like I said, that is a target-rich environment. I mean,
Well, I tell you
TRE.
what I want to see. I want to see a spoof show where somebody's Paul Feinbaum. So you got to get the whole, the hair thing, and just spoof a Feinbaum show with all their great guests. Or maybe one of you all needs to go to fish school at Texas A&M for that 1 week where they have to go early, and what it's like to be at fish school. Because and rebel yell and all this shit that goes on. That is just the weirdest shit in the world.
Well, and I'm just weird. I just one thing. I know y'all got to go. We didn't not mean to keep y'all this. You all are we need more. You guys. We need more of y'all. And I'm serious. Paul Feinbaum in that chair where Letterman was, and y'all too as the writers, producers, directors. I don't want you moving to New York. Josh, where are you in Auburn, Alabama? MIT? I don't know. Okay, see, there you go. And
but you're both in Birmingham. You're both in Birmingham. Where are you all located? Is that Birmingham? Yeah. Okay, so you're both there. Okay.
The pound for pound, 85% of the people in Birmingham identify as college football fans on a survey. The other 15% did not get the survey in the mail or didn't read it because it's 100%. There's nothing like it. But y'all too, thank you for doing what you do. How do people book y'all? Because I know Michael Jordan, my great friend who is with South State, Duncan Williams, met y'all at the Bankers Conference. Was that at Point Clear down in when y'all? Yeah. What a terrible place to have to do.
Oh, man, it's awful, terrible. Only 3 golf courses. It's terrible.
I love going down to Orange Beach. I have a couple of places I get to use. One of them's across the street from the Floribama. You cannot beat the Riviera, L.A., Lower Alabama. But
the greatest hurricane magnet known to man.
Yes, it is. It is. How do people follow you, keep up with you? And we definitely want to get y'all to come back on if you'll do it. Didn't mean to keep you so long, but it just we gotta laugh more. It's good for your health. My best friend is an Alabama grad. We're 2 days apart, Josh. So we just don't watch the game together because that's during duck season and guns would be involved. So we don't watch the game together. And but I got so many Alabama friends.
Yeah. What's your preferred way of people to find you? Like what's your home base on what platform do you like, YouTube or whatever?
Yeah, I guess it would be YouTube for us, but you can find us on all social media.
Yeah.
But yeah, YouTube would probably be the easiest way.
Are you guys going to be at SEC Media Days?
Absolutely not.
No.
I was going to audition. I want to audition for one of these parts.
We told you you've got a musical to work on. So
I'm a musician. I'm a bad singer. Rob just got me a flipping cowboy hat.
I got him a cowboy hat from Hewlett and Dunn.
I'm fashion some headphones and shit to that thing. It's like this big.
Oh man, I've got a musical to work on. Is my new phrase all off season. Oh, sorry, I got a musical to work on.
We gotta have a fix though. Anything coming out anytime soon for the off season, y'all. We again. I'm Scotch Irish, man. If God made grass so we wouldn't fall off the earth, and I just
you don't smoke it.
No. But I'm just saying,
in the legal states.
It's so funny. I miss late night TV when you laughed yourself to sleep. It's unwatchable now. I'm sorry, it is. But y'all put out content. And I love to go. You can go to the archives. Everything you have is archived on YouTube. Yeah, that is a fact.
Yeah. How often do you put out content? What's your schedule?
It's once a week during the regular season. In the off season, we kind of lay low. We're going to release a video probably in like June or July about Texas and Oklahoma coming in, and then the musical. Boys, y'all just buckle up when that comes out because
Oklahoma.
There you go. So
you're really doing a musical.
We're doing a musical number. Not us. We're not singing. We're going to bring Hannah in, our actress. She's got a great voice, so she'll be able to do it.
Josh, I tell you what, Josh singing. I mean, this would be a Garth Brooks moment. I promise you.
No,
maybe singing down in Baton Rouge along with you.
If I could sing, you would know it by now because I would have already forced myself into a short. But I am Awful. I'm awful.
That's perfect.
Yeah, be like Kirsten Wig on that Saturday Night Live skit. Don't make me
My
sing. Don't
best
make me sing.
friend's wedding. I mean, proved it. You can
my
be
God.
awful and be.
Don't make me sing.
We could do a 2-hour podcast with you guys, but we've kept you for 10 minutes longer than we said.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
What's your
well,
dog's name?
Thank y'all for putting us on.
Yeah. What's your dog's name?
That's Coda, and I guess an Amazon driver has been just hanging out at my front door this entire
my God.
time because he's just been losing his mind.
That's
All
funny.
right. Look,
All right.
thank y'all so
Well,
much. Look forward to having you on again. Have a great day and a great week.
Later on when I repost this show and stuff in the podcast, I'll make sure to tag you guys and everything.
All right, thanks. Appreciate
You
it.
guys
You
are the
bet.
best. I
You're the
promise
best.
you.
Thanks for your time. We
All right,
appreciate
bye,
it
guys.
so much.
Appreciate
Huge
you guys.
fans.
Take it
Thanks,
easy.
guys. Yeah.
All right.
Man, that we need more of that, guys, and that is so critical. Franz, you're so right, and remember Brother Theodore on the Letterman show? Brother Theodore would come out there in that black turtleneck, and he was an astrophysicist from Columbia or MIT or something, and he would go, "Dave, you do not understand about this theory of relativity in relation to humanity and design." And Letterman would be sitting there like, and we gotta have these guys.
Father
You know what?
Guido Sarducci.
Father
Oh,
Guido Sarducci. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
You just can't get better than that.
Father Guido and the church, I guess the church lady was just, I would give anything if Dana Carvey would revive the church lady. The church lady,
Special.
Santa, Santa, Satan, Satan,
Satan?
Santa,
I don't know.
Satan. Oh gosh, that was fabulous stuff.
Those guys are fun. They're really great. Rob, great job lining them up. Franz,
Well, that was
uh,
awesome.
Big basketball news for the Gators yesterday.
Yeah.
Would you talk
Yeah.
about what down there?
Picking up Elijah Martin, and I feel like I got one of my homeboys in here. He's from Summit, Mississippi, which is 5 miles from Macomb, where I, spent 3 of my formative years, and North Pike Jaguar. We used to kill them every time we played them, but that's beside the point. But the guy he's a scorer, 13.9 a game, rebounder, 5.9 rebounds a game, even though he's 6'2". He's going to fit in.
Though.
Yeah, he will fit in well. Put him in there with Walter Clayton and with Will Richard.
Mhm.
Florida's got 11 scholarships taken up now. If Oliver Ryu from IMG comes, he will come in year 1 as a walk-on. And if, when you think about it, Florida's going to be 7'1", 6'11", 6'11", 6'9", 6'9". Then you throw in a 7'7" guy. I would say that, it goes back to that old saying, you cannot teach tall.
No.
And, everybody keeps talking about how, we've got to adjust the game because everybody's shooting threes. I think I said it last week on the show. Which is the higher percentage shot, a dunk or a three-pointer? Now, you got to have a few threes, but you notice that the teams that made it to the championship this year, they only had a few guys that shot threes, and then they had these big, guys in the middle, these Cro-Magnon guys that could just reach up and dunk it.
Yeah.
If Florida gets Oliver Ryu, by the way, one of my business partners' kids played JV basketball at Montverde. He's only a 9th grader who's on their JV team. And they went to IMG. And this kid catches the ball here and just reaches behind him and never leaves his feet. Just reached over his shoulder and dunked. Now,
That's crazy.
I got that's tall, but that's also with skill. I mean, I could not dunk. These hands are not big enough to engulf the basketball the way these guys do. I couldn't dunk with 2 hands and a trampoline. This guy just doesn't.
I bet you could.
Yeah, you could.
I know
Franz is 6'3".
The trampoline, I'd fall on my bad ankles. I'd be unable to walk for about the next 6 weeks.
Well, let me go back in history real quick. The dunk was allowed and then it wasn't allowed. Is that what I mean? Okay. I remember
1967, they outlawed the dunk because of Ferdinand Louis Alcindor.
Yes.
UCLA wins the national championship, and everybody says, well, if we outlaw the dunk, then UCLA won't win it again. Well, they won the next 6. Even, they won the last 2 with him, and then he had the audacity, once he could dunk again, to change his name to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So he became fairly famous.
What would the baseball? I'm so ashamed to say this. I had a Dallas Cowboys football, 1971.
I think everyone did.
Mom and Dad were guests. They were working on a project, Dad being an architect, in Dallas, and were invited to the game and sat in this box or whatever. After the game, they got to go down in the locker room and were presented with an autographed football by every member of the team: Roger Staubach, Walt Garrison, Dwayne Thomas,
Leroy
Bob
Jordan.
Hayes, Bob Lilly, Leroy Jordan, and then 47 black and white glossy pictures, all autographed. And Einstein here, they brought it home to me, and I used it to play neighborhood football in the street and scratched it and scuffed it, and I don't know where it is. I also had a Don Drysdale and a Mickey Mantle baseball card somehow I ended up with. Lou Alcindor, of course, all these other ones. Can't find the bag. It was in a Dallas Cowboys duffel bag. What would that stuff be worth today, Franz? You're a purveyor of all things good.
It would be priceless. I gave away my baseball card collection because at the age of 15, I was told by this really good-looking little blonde-headed girl who was a year younger than me. She was in the 9th grade and I was in the 10th. And, hey, I mean, I'm a stud muffin because I've got myself a 9th grade girlfriend. And she says, don't you think it's time to get rid of those childish things?
Oh, no.
And I said, well, I really don't think so. She said, well, I do. She says, give them to my brother. And I did. Later on, I found out he sold those things for thousands. I'm telling you. And just goes to show you that sometimes, there's all, what was, some people say that there's a woman involved, Jimmy Buffett,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people say there's a woman to blame. Always is.
Always is.
Well, and you think about what y'all just said. I mean, Franz, what you have seen, you were writing as a kid. I mean, like a young teenager. See, you know what I noticed in my wealth management practice? How many of my wealthy clients started working when they were 11 or 12? They grew up on a farm. They learned how to drive when they were 10 and 11. And
let me tell you what I did. I ran the ballpark. I came there and ran the ballpark for Pony League and Senior League. I played. I ran the ballpark. I wrote for the newspaper, and I mowed lawns and went to summer school.
I love that.
And that was my summer.
And Florida.
No, that was in Mississippi.
But you grew up in Gainesville, though. I mean, you
we
went
were in
to
Gainesville. We were in Gainesville, and then we got exiled to Mississippi for 3 years.
Well,
that's where you met Coach John Brady.
Well, but Franz played football with a famous, with a pretty famous guy,
Tommy Petty.
That goes by Tom Petty.
He was the right tackle, and I was the left tackle for Hughes Supply.
Wait,
Johnny Delaney, Todd Rainsberger, David Boothby, and Dale Davis in our backfield. We were we kicked everybody's butts.
Well, let me say this.
We got exiled to Mississippi.
Yeah.
And the editor of the newspaper lived across the street from us. He wanted somebody to write about the junior high sports. So he talked to my English teacher and my Miss Emma Tumlin, and Miss Emma Tumlin said, oh, yeah, he's the best writer we've got. And so I became.
What grade were you in when they identified you as like that?
8th grade.
See, I love that.
I was 13 when I first started writing. When I was 14, I was writing all the junior high and JV sports. When I was 15, I was writing all the high school sports. And I started, and then when I was 16, I got my first college football assignment, and I was at Ole Miss, and I hate to tell you, I can't say in public what Johnny Vaught called me, but let me put it this way: I just about peed my pants when he did. You know, went down to LSU where they had an open bar, and a very famous, fairly well-known writer from the big city newspaper came up and said, "You ever had a drink, boy?" I went, "No, sir." Boom! Popped it right down there. Says, "You're drinking now with us." And
Wow.
by golly, I'm 16 years old, and I'll tell you what, that was the first drink of liquor I'd had. Now, trust me, I knew about beer because we used to buy beer in a case and then sell it for $1 a can. We'd buy it for $3.67. Pearl,
Yeah.
6-pack of Pearl beer.
Pearl, God, yeah.
And we'd buy it for $3.67. Then we'd go sell it for $1 a can, 24 cans. And gas, you got to remember, gas was 17 cents a gallon. And Tommy Dodrell had this puke green 1951 Plymouth. I could tell you some stories about that. And we'd go up to Jackson and go to Primo's restaurant on a Friday where they had like a second level, and they had a stairway and they had chairs on either side of it. We would get there at 11:15 because at 12 o'clock, all the secretaries from the Capitol came over there and came up there, and they all wore short skirts, and we'd sit in the tables on either side so we could look at their skirts.
Well, Jackson, the capital city. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about it is, and by the way, y'all, can y'all now see the state of Florida, the Gators on my SEC map when I move out of the way? Brendan, can you and Franz see Florida?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know why the way the map is located, but a lot of people, I get requests out, hey man, move out of the way. We can't see Florida. But that's my SEC map from Barnwood, Brenda. But I think about the writers that are out there that they know beyond just the score of the game. It's the side stories. And I can remember as a kid going to Tobacco Corner Newsroom at Poplar and Mendenhall in Memphis. And they had the Birmingham News, Atlanta Constitution, Orlando Sentinel, all these different Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Mobile Press Register. Sometimes they'd have that, Knoxville News Sentinel, Nashville Tennessean. We were a much more literate society.
Yeah.
But I also think Dad reads a lot of books about architects and history. And I think it's been said that most great architects don't start hitting their stride till their 60s. Well, writers are the same way. The writing that you put out, the daily thoughts, one final pithy thought, it's show prep for everybody. I love to read what you write in the morning. Sometimes you're up at 2 or 3 in the morning, I know, and Brendan's told me that. You look at what is happening in sports, and people get bogged down in the negativity. That is your choice if you let other people control the way you think. Friends, let's write the headlines for the next great story. How we're going to get through all the negativity about NIL and the portal and all that. One's the gas, one's the match. And before we have an out-of-control fire, offer us some ideas on how we can fix it. Because we had an idea Friday on Savant Friday with Frank Duffy, who was out in California, Doug Dean in Birmingham, and Dave Tompkins in the Low Country in Beaufort, South Carolina. Used the Augusta National model at the Masters like they do. Fred Ridley, the chairman of Augusta, is the one voice right now. They still sell sandwiches for it. Oh, he is? Okay. They still sell the sandwiches for $1. Pimento cheese and egg salad, whatever. They could charge $20 or $30 a sandwich. And you know what? People would pay for it to say they had a sandwich at the Masters. But write the story. Give us the first few lines on how we're going to get through it, because I know we will.
Well, first and foremost, we've got to get back to a society that isn't dominated by this.
Yeah.
I think there's a great bill that's about to be go through several states, which says that kids cannot have to have flip phones. They cannot have a smartphone until they're 18. And I know I know people are going to jump up and rebel against that, but we've got to get back to where the phone was used for a phone, and doesn't dominate our daily lives. And and here's the reason. Because we have people who say, okay, if you go more than 600 words on this, nobody will read it. And it's true, because like I can get on a computer screen.
Great point.
And it's like this. I'm looking at something like this, and I can scroll up and read it. Okay. And I can make the print bigger, etc., like that. And it's done in the privacy of my home. If I'm on this, typically speaking, I'm out in public and everything like this. And this has been the death of good sports writing. Right now, right now, let's see, Tony Barnhart can write. Gary Parrish, the best basketball writer in the country, right there in Memphis.
Yeah.
Gary Parrish is terrific, unbelievably good. Pat Forty, discovered by Brendan's dad, for example. Pat Forty was a nobody, and then all of a sudden Brendan's dad discovered him. Dennis Dodd's a good writer.
Yes, he is a lot of fun to have on the show. Lives in Kansas City. Yeah, excellent freaking writer. Love him.
Mike Bianchi, I know, gets on people's nerves. But
do you know him?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Mikey's great. You want him on the show?
Yes, absolutely. But here's why I like him. He makes people think. He gets people out of their comfort zone. That's the most important thing you can do in life with someone is say, you got to get out of the habit of being comfortable in your own skin. And if you want to be something better, realize you're going to have to work for it. He makes you think.
He gets under people's skin. He's a good writer. It's kind of like this. I asked one of these major newspapers in Florida how many writers they have on the staff. And it was like 10 or 12. I remember a time when that same newspaper had 40 people. We were down at the Miami News, and we had like 17, 18 on our staff. And we were the afternoon paper. Down below us, one floor below at the Miami Herald, they had 50, 60 writers.
Sports writers?
Yeah, sports writers.
Well, okay. Holy cow. Okay, I remember in Memphis growing up with George Lapidus, the Memphis Press-Seminar, the afternoon paper.
I like it. One of my old favorites.
Look, he started talk radio in Memphis, and I remember Jeff Weinberger, who let me come on with him. And you had these great Bobby Hall, Mike Fleming, Henry Reynolds, the outdoor writer.
Jack Hairston taught me. Hairston was my mentor. And I was already writing, and I came here to Gainesville, and he called me up one night because he was desperate for a stringer in Gainesville, and I was still in high school. He called me up, and hired me in 30 seconds. And later that year, when Florida and Ole Miss played for the SEC baseball championship, he was over here to look at the shortstop, who's a pretty good guy named Archie Manning. Best college shortstop I ever saw.
Yeah, you did. You said that before, and that blew my mind. He was that good of an athlete.
Oh, baseball was his best sport. He averaged 36 a game in basketball. I mean, my gosh, the guy can do it all. But Jack told me something that stuck with me the rest of my life. He said, "Get the story." He said, the score is rarely the story. He said, by the time people read what you write, everybody knows what the score was. So the score is not the story. The score is the people who made the story, they're the story. They made the score possible. The score isn't possible without the people. And we have, by going to this idea of 600 words or 1,000 words maximum, we have this idea that, okay, we're going to compact a story into this number of words and we can't exceed it because nobody will be able to read it on their smartphone. That's the mentality now, and it's got to change, or else sports writing is going to literally die on the vine because we don't have that many good sports. The state of Florida, we had John Crittenden, the great John Crittenden down at the Miami News. We had Eddie Pope down below us at the Herald. We had Jack Hairston up in Jacksonville, then in Gainesville.
Yeah.
Larry Guest, Tom McEwen, on and on and on. When they had the Skywriters.
Yes.
When they had the Skywriters, look at who the Skywriters were. Look how many Florida writers were there. Florida had the greatest concentration of writers to follow them.
Yeah.
Than you've ever seen, because
it was massive. Yeah.
It was absolutely unbelievable.
Well, let me throw another one at you. Has anyone ever gone? I don't know what a lifetime scholarship, what the value, what they put on it. I know at Auburn you can do a lifetime scholarship for $600,000. Has anyone stepped up to the plate, or has it been brought up to somebody to make a Jack Hairston scholarship for journalism at a professor of journalism, True Grit journalism at the University of Florida? I don't even know if he went to Florida, but I know he covered Florida.
How about Buddy Martin, who did go to Florida?
Yeah.
Whose classmate was George Solomon, who became the sports editor of the Washington Post. Buddy Martin became the sports editor of the New York Daily News.
I know.
What was it? The Denver
Post. Denver Post. Yeah.
The Denver Post. My gosh, you look at the. I mean, Buddy Martin. I mean, talk about an eye for talent. I mean,
oh God, yeah.
You're forgetting Rick Riley.
Rick Riley, the
Daily Camera.
Well,
Rick
here's the thing.
Another one who was dying on the vine, and then and Buddy saw something in him.
Well, let me throw another one at you. So Buddy Martin, and I know I was telling some people this. I got his number from Lauren Smith. Look over my right shoulder, Lauren. What do you got? That's him right there. And I said, "Do you know Buddy Martin?" And he said, "Oh, sure." And I'll give you his number. And that's how I got. But I would watch Buddy for years on Paul Feinbaum. Buddy's kind of a Clive Davis type of sports writers. 6 decades, he identified great musical talent. Buddy, like the team y'all have down there. I watch this Buddy Martin show, which is on everybody Monday through Thursday, sometimes a Friday. It's on YouTube live. Buddy Martin show. Franz,
it's right here on this channel, actually.
Yeah, on this channel, SEC Sidelines.
Just hit subscribe right here on this channel, and you will get those notifications if you don't know where that is and you can't figure that out. Well, hey, I've got a QR code for you right there.
Yeah.
That's called the segue.
But what's cool is you've got Ben Troop on there, David Whitley, Moultrie, David Moulton, and Franz, of course, Buddy, you, Brendan, a lot, Allie Peak Wilbur. Your young intern, his name is
Kyle Curtis.
Kyle Curtis. He graduates in 2 weeks, and and I'm just thinking about how when you can watch SportsCenter if you want. I'd rather watch the color bars on the TV when it goes off the air late at night, than now, because it's too political. But you want to watch good content, you got to drill down local. And that's a term that Brendan came up with about you got the 40,000 foot view from Miami to Seattle and everything in between, or New York to Sacramento. But you got to be able to drill down local. Okay. You know what the best comparison is? I heard George H.W. Bush before the first Gulf War, August of 90, he said, we have satellites thousands of miles up in space that can see anything on Earth. They can see troops amassed along a border, in this case, Kuwait and Iraq. But we don't know their actual intent. until we get boots on the ground and special ops and intel to find out what's going on. That's why you got to be going local. The damn beat writer that busts his ass or her ass, the radio talk show host, the people that are finding the stories. And I really believe this. We're going to come back. People say, oh, we'll never go back to it. Yeah, we will. Because what you're going to do, you're going to keep pushing that envelope with the fans. And then you're going to go, okay, let's not forget who brung us to the dance. The fans have paid for all this. You watch what happens. Everybody's like, look, I'm not a contrarian just to be different. But Franz, you just laid out an all-star list of rock star reporters. And you're one of them. You're putting out great content. Emma, who the hell can think like you do? And it says something about the duality of man, that you can be funny and also be a brilliant writer. Brendan, as a producer, I mean, think about this. How many people today just mail it in? I'm not feeling good today. It's too cold outside, whatever. Last Thursday morning, we're in Atlanta, okay, on our road trip to see Mallory and Chandler and Tyler. And there's storms all over Ocala. No internet, Wi-Fi, power lines down. Brendan didn't come up with, we can't. He went to a truck stop, followed behind a trucker with his Wi-Fi card to get the signal out there. It's called finding excuses to win.
Almost got all the way to Tampa.
Yeah, but so what we need to do is start finding these good stories in sports. I mean, there's tons of them. So about to wrap it up here. I'll just say this. One of the funnest shows we've ever had. The guys are funny. Robert Clay and Josh Sneed, and in Birmingham with SEC Shorts. We got, folks, do yourselves a favor. Watch these shows. Freedom of speech is alive and well in the podcast world. No drinking of the Kool-Aid. No just group think. Franz, your final thoughts of the day before we wrap this one up. And folks, check out all of our sponsors like Rumble Boxing, Hewlett and Dunn, ECS House Industries. All the great agriculture equipment to feed you is made in a 99,000 square foot warehouse in Cherry Valley, Arkansas. HouseIndustriesInc.com. Hewlett and Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Your cowboy hat is on the way, Brendan. And Franz, as soon as I can find a Gator shirt, they can't keep them. They're selling them. It's Acres Down South, folks. They're making all the college, Big 12, SEC, and ACC. But Franz, your daily thoughts, final pithy thought before we wrap this one up. This has been a lot of fun.
Well, I want to throw a shout out to the gymnastics, to the Pixies. These little girls are absolutely fearless. LSU won it deservedly. Yep. So had a great team this year. Florida makes the Final Four with 3 freshmen in the rotation in a year when Kayla DeCello, last year's SEC Freshman of the Year, Sky Blakely, who is going to be one of the right behind Simone Biles as the best on the Olympic team. Those girls will be on the Olympics in Paris. They skipped this year, and Florida had to go with 3 freshmen in the rotation, and the Gators still finished 4th. LSU finished 1st. We overlook sports like that. You look at softball today, the standings are going to come out, the rankings. Texas and Oklahoma are going to be 1 and 2. And they're going to be in the SEC next year, but you also have Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida are going to all be there. The SEC is going to be, we're coming into a decade where the sports in the SEC are going to be unbelievable. We still have to get this problem solved, which is called the NCAA, and we need a great divorce attorney to get that done. But before we do it, the bright minds have got to get together, folks, and they have got to have another organization. It's kind of like this. You can get a divorce from your wife, but if your wife has all the money and you get the divorce, guess what? You're out on the street and you're sitting there thinking, why did I do that? Yeah. And we've got to have a landing place, like Jerry Jeff Walker said, it'd be like one of those guys who comes out of the doorway and looks for a soft place to fall. Well, we got to have a place to fall here. We've got to have a place to go. The NCAA has outlived its usefulness, except they do a dandy job of conducting championships. Let them conduct the championship events. Let them be in charge of running a tournament, although not in charge of who gets in it. But they can run the tournament once we've got it and stuff like that.
Let them be a subcontractor.
Exactly. But get these pointy head people out. Get the college presidents out of the business of college sports. Turn that over to athletic directors, coaches, and business people who understand it. Yeah. Because we're coming into this magnificent decade coming forward now that we got Oklahoma and Texas in here, and the SEC is going to dominate sports like nobody has ever seen. Yeah. And we need to have this great organization ready to go, because the SEC within the next 3 years is going to be hit by so many lawsuits. It's going to collapse under the weight of legality. Yeah, and what we got to be careful of is not cannibalizing ourselves either. I mean, SEC is a tight-knit group, pull for each other. You want to beat them, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Texas and OU coming in, there'll be a learning curve. I think Texas is more ready probably than OU, but they're both proud programs. Fan bases are going to be just absolutely, they're going to fit into the SEC big time, okay? So just remember, too, get out to the Vitamin Shop, also in Oxford, Mississippi, and Olive Branch, Mississippi. We talked to Justin Ross. He and Matt Price are the partners on these two franchises, the Vitamin Shop. I shop there. I get probiotics, prebiotics, goo, shot blocks, energy, food, actual stuff that works and helps you. Most of the stuff that they have, you probably haven't heard of, but it is real. They have people that work there that know what they're doing. So, hey, most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us, folks. We live in the greatest country in the history of the world. Like the book behind me with Rick Pitino says, success is a choice. Go out and make great things happen. We'll see you tomorrow. Hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner on YouTube. Appreciate you. SEC Sideline Sports Network and SECU. And check out our Texas podcast we did with Buddy Martin and Ken Capps and me. It's a real fun one. Oklahoma is next.
SEC, you'll see SECU. You'll see a logo on it, and just click on it. That'll really be the one.
Yeah, I'll be watching the Buddy Martin show tonight, man. Stay in touch with the network, man. We're out of here. See you tomorrow.
In a perfect world, you'd set a health goal and results would happen overnight. In this world, the real world, it takes time, dedication, and the right support to achieve your best self. The Vitamin Shop's health enthusiasts are here to make sure you're not wasting a single moment on the wrong supplements. From the highest quality sports nutrition and superfoods to the most sought after trends, you'll find a huge variety of science-backed solutions for every goal. And the people that help guide you along the path to greatness.
Unbelievably, every 2 minutes in our communities, a child is either bought or sold for sex. I am Ari Dickey, board member for the Nashville Anti-Human Trafficking Coalition. Join me and millions of others in our fight against human trafficking and for its victims by helping to educate the most vulnerable among us, our middle and high school students. Go to nhtcoalition.org, become a partner, and help keep our families safe, because none of God's children are for sale.